Nvidia is currently in the middle of one of the most dominant runs we've ever seen by a company. I mean, the 1 year performance, 181%. That's not even what you'd expect for 5 years. That's about the S&P 500 5 year. Actually, it's closer to the decade performance, which is up about 200% over the last decade. 181%. And if you zoom out, last 5 years, 22,000, closer to 23,000%. So you've 23x. This company is 23x in this time frame. That is just crazy. But the crazier thing is that this doesn't seem like a company that's going to slow down anytime soon. And I think the stock price will reflect that. We can see the PE is decently high at 52, but when you've gone up 2,300% over the last 5 years, you should be a company that's well above the S&P 500 PE. And it's a little bit better because forward PE is lower too at 45. But once you look at the earnings growth of this company, it is not surprising at all what you're seeing here. I mean, look at this. 288% increase to this year, 127.5% increase the next. You don't expect companies to go up 127% over a 5 year period. Nvidia has happened to do this. Revenues increased dramatically as well. But the margins on this stuff is just insane. The reason, I assume most of you know, but just to dive into the topic, the reason Nvidia is so successful is what they do. The AI chips, no one can do what they do. AMD is trying to get into the sphere, but they aren't really succeeding right now. And other than AMD, there's no serious competition. You could maybe argue Intel, but they're a disaster right now. So Nvidia has the gold. They do. Everyone wants it. Apple wants it. Google wants it. Everyone wants it. Meta wants it. It's so valuable because of what AI and LLMs can bring to people and to companies, increasing efficiency. Everyone's looking at that. So all the money's pouring to Nvidia. And not only that, but stuff with like Blackwell. The chips are just getting better. They just are. And Nvidia is going to keep benefiting from it. Now, one thing I would caution people of, like I said, I think Nvidia is going to do well, certainly in the long term. In the short term, I wouldn't be surprised if it did as well. The only thing I would caution people on is if you think you're going to have 23x over the next 5 years. Not that it's impossible, but doing the math, you're at 3.3 trillion. If you 23x'd in the next 5 years, you would be valued at like $76 trillion. So AI would have to really, really, really be good because the entire world GDP right now is only 100 trillion. So I think Nvidia is going to do very well. I think they're going to outpace the S&P 500 pretty dramatically. I think they can grow a lot. But expecting them to 23x over the next 5 years is probably just not possible because there's just not enough money, even if people did have that demand. But it's technically possible, but that is a long shot. But other than that, like I said, I think Nvidia is a great company, clearly has great leadership. The CEO does a phenomenal job. They have something super important. And if AI really takes off, they are going to continue to grow. The stock price is going to shoot up. That is assured. It's really not anything crazy I'm saying here. I think Nvidia is going to do well. One thing, they pay a dividend, but it basically does nothing. I think I dived into what they do, so let's take a look at what some other people have to say. Schwab really likes it. They think it's going to be in the top 17% of stocks performing over the next year. They reiterated that yesterday. So, and like I said, I think it's going to do well in the short term as well. Wide economic moat. I think wide economic moat is an understatement. Right now, they're probably an 11 out of 10 on the economic moat. Everyone wants it. The margins are insane. No one can compete with them right now. It's a perfect environment for Nvidia right now. Just absolutely perfect. You got buy, you got long, you got buy. 10 out of 10 weighted key issues score. And like I said, you're projecting earnings even higher. And there's just going to be more and more money being poured into this. Let's look at a little bit of the historical PE. It's probably going to be right around. You're actually cheaper than you have been, at least in terms of PE and in terms of forward PE. So at the beginning of this year, before it went up 180%, your forward PE is about 25. After going up another 180%, you're only a little bit more expensive. Forward PE here, displaying 31. So you're really not, this really isn't that expensive of a company. That's why I think Nvidia is still going to keep going up. If they can maintain anything like the growth they are expecting over the next year and can continue that into years beyond, even if they only grow 20% after 2025 into 2026, this is still a company that you're going to look back in 3 or 4 years and say, oh yeah, I'm not surprised. The only risk I see, like serious risk I see, is if AI and LLMs aren't as profitable as people think. Like dramatically less. Even if it's a little bit underwhelming, Nvidia is still going to be at these rates because most of the companies are too far in and they're going to innovate in it, especially Nvidia's stuff. It's just going to keep getting better and better and better. But if for some reason AI really just wasn't anything, yeah, you're going to see a drop in demand just rapidly for Nvidia. I really do not see that. I really don't. But yeah, if you were really skeptical in AI, would not be buying into Nvidia. But I don't think that should surprise anyone. If the thing they're making all their money on and you think it's not going to make any money and it's a joke, then of course you'd think that. I don't think anyone really thinks that. I mean, people will say like AI bubble, which is dumb because it's reflected in earnings. People are buying it and people know how useful LLMs are. I mean, I'm not even going to dive into it. I think I've covered most of that. Let's look a bit at what some analysts have to say. All the analysts are saying buy virtually except for like two guys. Those two guys have been saying probably hold for the last 5 years while it's gone up to 2,300%, right? So it's that's 59 of the 63 analysts are saying buy. Yep. So 4 guys. You never get this many analysts saying buy. You just don't. Now in the short term, we know companies can go down even if they do good. You can see even that some of that reflected. Was there any reason for Nvidia to get that low? Not really. It was just market concerns. The entire market was going down at these times. I really wouldn't be concerned about Nvidia. I think short term, if it does lag in the short term, just because of market sentiment, I think that's a bit silly. I think there's a very good chance it keeps going up. But I think I've covered most of what I want to this day. Nvidia is a great long-term hold. It's a great company, great leadership, great industry, and its share price reflects that. It's gone up dramatically. It's one of the best success stories in company history in a short period of time like this. Anyways, I appreciate you all for watching. If you enjoyed, I covered daily stock content on this channel. I did a video covering some maybe cheaper AI stocks, some low PE AI stocks if you want to check that out. That's all I got for today, and I'll catch you guys later.